Sagas are one of the coolest permanent types to be added to Magic in a long time. A Saga is an enchantment that has chapters. So when you first play the Saga, it comes into play and you do Chapter 1. Then after your draw step on the next turn, you do Chapter 2. Then on the draw step of your next turn, you do Chapter 3, and etc. until you do all the chapters. And then it sacrifices itself when you do the last chapter. But what chapter you're actually on is tracked by lore counters. So when you first play the Saga out, you're on Chapter 1 and you have one lore counter on it. Then when you go to your second turn, you put another lore counter on it and you go to Chapter 2, etc. But if you have a way to put a lore counter on it before you go to your next turn, you can actually go to the next chapter in the same turn. Putting a lore counter on it is what triggers the next chapter, so all you have to do is find a way to increase the number of lore counters on it, and you can proceed through the chapters more quickly than waiting for a few turns to go by. And in this budget deck, we're seeking to do that via Huatli's Raptor. Huatli's Raptor is a 2-drop, it's a 2/3 with Vigilance, so good stats, but more importantly, when it enters the battlefield, we Proliferate. So Proliferate's an ability that lets us choose any number of permanents and lets us increase the counters on them by 1, any type of counter. It's not just +1/+1 counters, any type of counter, including lore counters. So for example, with the first Heroine games, let's say we play the first Heroine games, we're on Chapter 1. We go to our next turn, we go to Chapter 2, put 3 +1/+1 counters on something. Well, then we can play our Huatli's Raptor. That'll immediately push us to Chapter 3, and we get to draw cards immediately before our opponent gets a chance to kill the creature, kill our 4-power or greater creature. Also, because we just put 3 +1/+1 counters on something, we get to proliferate that creature as well and give it another +1/+1 counter. So we kind of get double value out of that with the first Heroine games. And the first Heroine games is sort of our biggest payoff for Proliferate. But it's not the only Saga we play. We also play Birth of Melodus. We play 4 of these. This is just a pretty good value card. You play it, get you to your next land drop, makes a 0/4 and you gain 2 life. So all in all, it's sort of like a Wall of Omens. Kind of draws you a card, but that card's always at planes. But hitting your land drops is good, you know. So a decent enough card. And then we also have 2 copies of Binding of the Titans. It's not super strong in our deck because we don't do a ton of stuff with our graveyard. But we still can eke out some value, and it still does benefit from being proliferated and getting through these chapters more quickly. Actually, probably more so than the Meletus, Birth of Meletus, because Binding of the Titans, what you really want is the third ability on that, right? The reason why Binding of the Titans is kind of not great in general is because its best ability is on turn 3. So you play it, and it's like, okay, you mill, okay, you exile, but then you really get to what you want, which is you can put a creature back into your hand from your graveyard. So it just kind of takes some time to get there. So being able to proliferate that and kind of move it along to the step we actually care about is actually pretty good. And then the last saga we play is Elspeth Conquers Death. This is another rare saga, so 5 of our rares are 3 of the first Heroine games and 2 of the Elspeth Conquers Death. This is just a pretty good removal spell. When it enters the battlefield, we have to exile something, and then the last counter is reanimating a creature from our graveyard. So yeah, this just, you know, again, we kind of benefit from proliferating on this. If we go first counter, untap, go to the second chapter, play our Huatli's Raptor, and immediately go to the third chapter. Well, those are the 2 we care about, the first chapter and the third chapter. So getting to kind of like not have to wait around forever to get to that third chapter is pretty nice. It makes the card more powerful and more immediate and less slow. We also have a few ways to blink our sagas. This is actually a pretty powerful thing to do with sagas because, you know, think of the first Heroine games. You know, it goes through its chapters and then it sacrifices itself. But if you blink it, if we use Flicker of Fate on first Heroine games, when it re-enters the battlefield, so Flicker of Fate exiles a creature or an enchantment, and it comes back in the battlefield immediately under your control. Well, if we do that on the first Heroine games, you know, we go Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, and while the trigger for Chapter 4 is on the stack, we can say, okay, in response, before that chapter resolves and my first Heroine games goes away, we are going to flicker it with Flicker of Fate, and that resets it back to Chapter 1. So we get to go through all the chapters all over again, get all that value all over again, and it really lets you get like a maximum amount of value out of these. It's also really powerful to flicker an Elspeth Conquers Death to kind of repeatedly remove things. So we've got 4 copies of Flicker of Fate and 2 Shepherd of the Flock, which can kind of do the same thing. Shepherd of the Flock, we actually pick up the enchantment and then recast it. So it's not quite the same as Flicker of the Fate, just sort of making it start over for only 2 mana. We have to actually recast the thing, which is a little painful with like Elspeth Conquers Death. What's important is that both of these also kind of work with our Huatley's Raptor, so blinking our Huatley's Raptor is also great because this deck does tend to put a lot of +1/+1 counters on it with things like First Hero in games and Sagas Champion putting +1/+1 counters on itself. So it is nice to be able to just blink a Huatley's Raptor to proliferate our Sagas and also grow our creatures. And that blinking also is really great with Sagas Champion, which is where the rest of our rares end up. So Sagas Champion has Constellation, which just means whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield, you do something. She's what, in Magic terms, is called an Enchantress, which is when an enchantment enters the battlefield, you draw a card. And those traditionally have been very powerful cards, and Sagas Champion is not an exception. So Sagas Champion works with both themes of our deck, right? She's great with our Sagas, because every time a Saga enters the battlefield, she's going to draw us a card, and put a +1/+1 counter on herself and get bigger and bigger and bigger. But also, Huatley's Raptor not only proliferates our Sagas, but proliferates her as well, so she's going to be growing as we're doing our proliferation. She also makes our blink even better. You know, if we're blinking a Saga to reset it back to its Chapter 1, well, that also will trigger her Constellation again as the enchantment re-enters the battlefield. So we get to draw another card, put another counter on her. So she's really a really important part of our deck. We also have one more Constellation payoff, which is Nessian Wanderer. He's pretty good. I mean, you know, he's a good way to just sort of make sure we hit our land drops. We play him on turn 2, play like our first heroic games on turn 3. We should hit our 4th land drop, and then we sort of just make sure we have enough mana to do our stuff. So it kind of lets us, we're down to 22 lands. We're being kind of greedy with our lands at 22, with like 5 drops in our deck because Nessian Wanderer helps us find some. You know, Birth of Melodus helps us find planes. So we should be able between these two to get to our third and 4th land drops pretty consistently. We have a couple of enchantments that really are just good cards, like Destiny Spinner, just a good creature, a 2/3 for 2, are good stats. It has a mana sink ability where you can pay 4 mana and make your lands into creatures. And also, it's just a kind of a hoser against control. Just having a 2 mana creatures and enchantments you control can't be countered. So that's pretty much everything in our deck, right? Except for like our Flicker of Fate. But everything else she just makes hard uncounterable. And also we have Sentinel's Eyes, a couple copies of these. These synergize well with Sagas Champion, just an enchantment we can reuse over and over and over again. They marginally grow our creatures as well, make our creatures into usually pretty sizable threats. And also it gives us a little more payoff for Binding of the Titans, filling up our graveyard. You know, if we mill over one of these, we're pretty happy about it. Filling up our graveyard makes these easier to pull out of our graveyard, and Binding of the Titans also fills up our graveyard for Elspeth Conquers. That's really the only real advantages we get out of filling up our graveyard with Binding of the Titans, which is why we only run 2. And then lastly, we've got Laguna Band Storyteller, just one copy of this. This is just a way to basically get back our Sagas that are already in the graveyard. You know, if we didn't want to blink one earlier or whatever, if it sacrificed itself, this is a way we can gain some life, like put an Elspeth Conquers death back on top of our deck. And it's something we can blink to do it over and over again. It's basically just another way we can reuse our Sagas over and over again if we don't have the chance to flicker them, right? It's a way we can let our Elspeth Conqueror's Death go to the graveyard, like, we don't want to flicker this right now, and then down the line we can get it back. And then Conclave Tribunal, which is pretty great in our deck, just removal for anything, and usually we should be able to cast it for a pretty cheap cost. Being able to curve like a Sagas Champion into a cheap Conclave Tribunal is pretty decent, and, you know, it just goes well with our Enchantress theme and our small creatures, so pretty great that we are able to make great advantage of just a really, really, really powerful removal spell that should be able to deal with most everything. So that covers the non-land cards in our deck. So like always, we are playing some rare lands in our deck, but if you don't have these, don't worry about it. Play as many rare lands as you've got, you know, put in as many Temple Gardens if you got, as many Temple of Plenty as if you got, and maybe some Fable Passages if you got them, and then otherwise just play the taplands. Don't worry about spending wild cards on this. You can still pretty much try out the deck and get a feeling of it with, you know, if you don't have a bunch of rare lands. It's okay. Just play as many as you got, and just, you know, keep in mind that it will reduce the power of the deck a bit. That said, I'm running 4 Fable Passages, mostly because I just haven't opened that many Temple of Plenties. I think playing like 4 Temple Gardens, 4 Temple of Plenties, and like 2 Fable Passages would be your best bet here, because it was not kind of abnormal as I was playing this deck to be really low on planes. With Birth of Melodus being used over and over again, we often just were like out of planes pretty early in the game. And so having these Fable Passages only being able to go and get our few remaining forests sometimes was kind of weird. If we, you know, at that point we probably have enough white sources, but it is something to keep in mind. I think probably it would be better to just run Temple of Plenty. But again, just run as many rare lands as you got, and then just run these things like this Blossoming Sands or Selesnya Guildgate to fill in the gaps. Besides that, in the sideboard, we've got Aislet of Life's Bounty. This is a way we can bring this in against control or removal heavy decks to protect our more important creatures like Sagas and Champion. We've got Apostle of Purifying Light, which is just a bomb against mono black. We've got Devout Decree, which is great against mono red and mono black, and Revoke Existence. This is we've only got one copy of this, but we might actually want to go up to two. This is just a pretty great card in Standard right now. There's a lot of gods running around, a lot of Ereboses and Heliods, and it's nice to just have a way to actually answer those gods. That's only 2 mana, and also it hits on other important pieces too, like the Cat Oven and Fires of Invention. So it's not like it's only for the gods. So I think I would go up one more of these in retrospect. Banishing Light basically does the same thing with Revoke Existence, just to answer to any sort of problematic permanent, which in this case is usually artifacts and enchantments, so I think I would probably go up a Revoke Existence. And then 4 copies of Thrashing Bronodon, just great against fires and other decks relying on enchantments. And that pretty much covers it. So Saga-liferate is what I'm calling this deck, and it's sort of a alternative green-white Enchantress budget option. There are other green-white Enchantress decks you can build, like aura-based decks, that will be pretty good too. But I do wanted to go a different way with this, kind of tap into this synergy with Watley's Raptor, and I will have a section at the end of the video where I talk about potential upgrades you can make to the deck. If you already have some extra rares that I'll talk about, you can slot those in, or if you want to spend a few more wild cards to just power up the deck a bit, you can do it too. But mostly it's just like, okay, I already have these rares, I'll slot them in, that sort of thing. I will say I think this deck would be significantly improved. If you want to see the deck in its best form, I would say check the end of the video, because I do think there's sometimes I build budget decks and the potential upgrades are more of just like a wish list of, this might be cool, this might be stronger, this might be whatever. But I do think this deck just has some really nice pieces that we just can't afford on our budget. I even kind of push the budget. Usually I try to stay at like 8 wild cards-ish, and I went up to 9 with this one just because we kind of needed these first Rowan games and Elspeth Conqueror's decks, and Sagas and Champion is so important to our strategy, so I pushed up to 9, but I think it really would benefit from just even some more kind of crucial rares. So again, I'll have a section at the end talking about those upgrades, but I still think the deck is pretty good as is, and yeah, let's just go to some gameplay and check it out. Alright, playing some Saga-liferate against VNC Warrior, and definitely cannot keep that hand. This is much better, much better. We will go down, I guess, a Flicker. We do have Birth of Melodus to get us to our 3rd land, so this is looking pretty good. We'll just play the tap land. Pass turn. We can go Nessian into Birth of Melodus. Sentinel's Eyes isn't bad either, so Nessian Wanderer. Alright, looks like our opponent's on mono black. The Midnight Reaper, sure. We'll just Birth of Melodus. Trigger. No lands in the top of our deck. Go get a Plains. Play the Plains. Play Sentinel's Eyes on our Nessian Wanderer. Trigger again. Go get a... I guess just a Forest is fine. Attack. Get in for 2. And pass turn. Okay, opponent just Murder Striders the Nessian Wanderer, that's fine. This 2/4 wall should actually be pretty good against this Midnight Reaper. And the Shepherd of the Flock means we're going to be able to make more than 1, so pretty good against a black aggressive deck, just to make a couple of walls that don't really cost us a card. Alright, make a wall. Now we will play Watley's Raptor, hold priority, proliferate our Saga, and play our Shepherd to put our Saga back into our hand. And pass turn. Next turn we can Shepherd and Birth of Melodus, and maybe Sentinel's Eyes, depending on if anything goes to the graveyard this turn. Alright, Knight of the Even Legion, sure. And a Nightmare Shepherd. Alright, we're gonna need to find our Elspeth Conquers Death before too long here. Okay, Setessan Champion's pretty good too. So we'll play Setessan Champion. Play Bertha Meletus. Trigger. Go get a Plains out of our deck, draw a card. Ooh, Conclave Tribunal is good. And we'll pass turn. We're probably going to just Conclave Tribunal this Nightmare Shepherd before they get too crazy with it. They put like a sack outlet on the field. They can get a lot of value with this Nightmare Shepherd plus this Midnight Reaper. Okay, just Grey Merchant, sure. Not that big a deal. Opponent gets in for 4, sure. Make another wall. We will... We're gonna Conclave Tribunal, tap Huatli's Raptor, tap 1 wall, and white. Play Conclave Tribunal, exile Nightmare Shepherd. Draw a card. Another land is not exactly what we wanted. We don't have... I guess we have Sentinel's Eyes in the graveyard, but that's not really what we wanted to get back with Laganaban Storyteller. So I think we just play... Yeah, we can't get back Sentinel's Eyes just yet, so we'll just play Shepherd of Block. And... pass the turn. Alright, opponent gets in with Knight of the Ebon Legion. Sure. We'll just block with this wall. Make them waste some of their mana on just pumping to kill a wall. Yep, sure, that's fine. So now they have to choose between playing this Murderous Rider this turn or drawing a card. They can't do both anymore. No, play the Murderous Rider, sure. Okay, sacrifice Bertha Meletus, gain some life. And I think here we will Destiny Spinner, draw a card. Setessan Champion, ooh, that's a good draw. Put Sentinel's Eyes on Setessan Champion. Exile 2 cards. Draw 2 cards. And we're kind of going off here. Exactly what we want to be doing. I think we will Conclave well, let's play a land first. Land, Conclave Tribunal, tap, and tap, and tap. Draw 2 cards, exile a Midnight Reaper. Ooh, Binding of the Titans is good. We will attack with Setessan Champion. Binding of the Titans should refill our graveyard, so the Sentinel, we can get back the Sentinel's Eyes if our Setessan Champion dies, but we're just going off here. Next time we can play Huatli's Raptor to pump up both of our dudes. We can also do 2 modes of Binding the Titans in the same turn thanks to Huatli's Raptor, so we can make sure they don't get any graveyard value. And depending on what we mill, we can also set up this Laganaban Storyteller. Alright, Fenlurker, we don't care about that at all. We'll just get rid of the, I guess, Fable Passage. Probably running low on planes at this point. Okay, a Grey Merchant drains us for 9. Oof. So we would like to gain some life here. Storyteller can help with that. Alright, we will Binding in the Titans. Mill 3. No enchantments, unfortunately. Draw 2. We will Huatli's... Well, Destiny's... Okay. We will Huatli's Raptor. Proliferate everything. Exile. Gain 2 life. Go to combat. Attack. And that's it. Alright. Punch chumps, takes 5. I guess we do Laganaban next turn. This is a little scary. If they top deck another Gary, we're just dead, but we'll Destiny Spinner, draw 2 more. Collector of Fate's not bad. Yeah, I guess we just pass the turn. No Gary, come on. Please! We don't have any way to flicker something and gain life, I don't think. Okay, opponent draws. Okay, they don't have enough mana for Gary this turn, so that's something at least. Blacklands Paragon. I guess we can... We probably will flicker this Binding of the Titans. Sure, gives it Death Touch. Alright, and we're going to flicker this Binding of the Titans to gain a little life. Go back into play. We get to draw 2, mill 3. Second tick goes down, we exile, gain 2 life. Not bad. Let's see, what did we mill? Got a Conclave Tribunal, which is nice. I think we will go Laguna Band Storyteller. Put Conclave Tribunal back on top of our deck. Play Destiny Spinner. Draw a card. Play Temple Garden, untapped. Conclave Tribunal. 1, 2, 3, Destiny Spinner. Draw 2 cards, exile the Knight of the Even Legion. Go to combat. Attack, 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 and attack. Okay, our opponent just does some chumping. Takes a lot of damage. And then we will... Okay, we still got 20 cards left in our deck. Good. So we will just go 1, 2, 3, 4. Get rid of one of these Garys just to lower their devotion as much as possible. I don't think they can kill us at all from this point, but just to be safe, we'll discard a couple lands here. And we should have this. I don't think there's anything in mono black that can save them from this crazy position. Timuret, and another Grey Merchant, wow. Oof, they wouldn't have killed us anyway with the extra 2 pips of devotion, but we're so happy with how that turned out. Okay, we'll get back... I guess just get back Watley's Raptor. We will... Elspeth Conquers Death. Get rid of the Grey Merchant. We will Temple Garden, untapped. Elspeth Conquers Death. Get rid of the Grey Merchant. Attack with everything. And that should be game. Yep. Opponent chumps, but we have a lot of extra power coming over, and that'll be it for them. Okay, that was our deck going the fuck off. Saga-liferating. Just sort of really, the black deck just couldn't keep up. After we sort of stabilized, they weren't able to get back in there. We have some good sideboard against them. A couple of Apostles, 3 Devout Decrees. Do we want to bring in Banishing Light too? I think we won't. We don't want to over sideboard and mess up our game plan. So I think we will not this time, but if we find that we would like it, we can always do that next time. We'll go down to Laguna Band Storyteller, go down Elspeth Conquers Death, go down Sentinel's Eyes, just sort of trim around the edges here. Go down a couple Flicker of... well, let's go down, yeah, a couple Flicker of Fates, and run it like that. Okay, game 2 against VNC Warrior, and we will keep this. Not the most explosive hand, but we do have an Apostle, which should give them a lot of problems. Okay, opponent plays a Catcher. That does sort of ignore our Apostle a bit. We'll play Fable Passage, go and get a Forest. I don't really want to draw that many more lands, so any sort of deck thinning is... It's not going to make a big difference, but why not? Cetessan Champion was a good draw. We probably want to wait until we can, like, Cetessan and do a an enchantment in the same turn so that we can get some advantage off of it. Because I mean, against mono black, they're probably gonna have a way to kill this Setessan champion before we untap, right? Between like murderous riders and such, drag to the underworld and things like that. They'll probably have some way of killing the Setessan champion. Probably better just to wait till we get up to like 5 mana. Okay, Fenlurker, well, we'll just throw away a land. That's fine. Got Birth of Meletus to get us to more lands if we need them, potentially. Nope, gets in, sure. Oh, another Setessan champion. Okay. Well, we'll just play the Apostle here. Pass turn. Apostle should be pretty good. Pretty much just going to be a blocker for everything in their deck forever. I don't know if they have any ways to get rid of it. I mean, they could have, like, Cry the Cranarium, maybe? I could see that bringing, you know, you could bring that in against our deck, and it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but a lot of our creatures do have, like, 3 toughness, though. Like this and the Raptors both have 3 toughness, so... Okay, Timorad, sure. Good God, he is loud. I guess good demigod, more like it. But, okay, yeah, I think we just stay on the plan to wait on the Setessan champions. We'll just first Iroan games here, because this is something where, okay, no attacks. We can put the counters on our Apostle, and that means we should guarantee that we're going to draw the cards, because they shouldn't have a way to actually kill our Apostle. Getting this out there, getting some card advantage going is pretty good. And a 1/1 is not the worst thing against their board. Even if it just ends up chumping or something, that's not bad against an aggressive deck. Okay, I guess we just block like that. Okay. Opponent just trades his Yarok away to get in a few points of damage there. That's fine. Okay. Order of Midnight's it back, sure. Ooh, another first Iroan games. Alright, put the counters on Apostle. Yeah, we're just gonna keep doing this. Another first Iroan games. And pass turn. And we're just gonna draw a bunch of cards off this Apostle that they can't touch. Feeling pretty good about this. I'm a little afraid that they might have some sort of, like, edict effect. So I don't want to, like, I'll trade one of these 1/1s away. But I don't want to trade away both, because I'm afraid they'll have, like, a Farrakhan's Libation or something, you know, that 3/2 that makes you sacrifice a creature. We'll just go down the Shepherd of the Flock, it's fine. We could bounce first Iroan games back to our hand and keep doing this, but we just want to do all this stuff more. Okay, land is great. Yep. We will put 3+1/+1 counters on, I guess, just the Apostle. They can't even block it, so this is going to just kill them, right? Draw 2 cards, we will... We're just going to keep doing it. Alright, another 1/1, and, you know what? I think we'll just kill them with this Apostle. Stop staying on back on defense. And, yeah, pass turn. They shouldn't have any way to deal with this Apostle, like... This should just be game. Triple first Iroan games. This is our star athlete. It's winning every Olympic Games ever in a row. Oh my gosh. He's a swole boy. Olympian champion. So we should have them pretty close to dead next turn. Midnight Reaper, okay. They better not attack, or they're actually dead, I think. Okay. So this should be game. I don't think they wanted to do this. I think this was a bad idea on their part. We will just leave 1 because I'm paranoid. But putting 3 more counters on this will get it up to 11, which is the rest of their life now, so... That's game. Yep. 3 more counters. Make a gold. Make this an 11/10, and kill our opponent. Well... Wow, so that shows, I mean, God, Apostle is such a beating against this mono black deck, and it is one of the bigger decks in the format. Like, there's tons of people playing mono black, so Apostle's such a great sideboard card, especially as an uncommon, and we just made it, like, the greatest athlete ever known, and it just could not be stopped. We had all this action still left in our hands too. Double Devout Decree, double Setessan Champion we never even had to play, so yeah, that wasn't even especially close. We just did this deck dirty. Woof. Alright. Sweet. Alright, playing Saga-liferate against Durgan, and yeah, we'll keep this. Got some stuff going on in this hand. Yeah. Play this tapped, pass turn. We can go Nessian Wanderer into Binding of the Titans. Oh my god. Okay, so this cuts off like half of our stuff, but not all of it, thankfully. We can get rid of it with Conclave Tribunal too. I think next turn we just... we might just Setessan Champion. Yeah, okay, they're gonna grow this Ajani's Pridemate, sure. First Iroan games, huh? I guess we do first Iroan games, actually. Make a 1-1, get a plains. No attacks. So next turn we can go land Setessan Champion and then immediately Conclave Tribunal to probably get rid of this Hushbringer, because we can just chump this Ajani's Pridemate. Oh, two of them. And a Dawn of Hope. Dawn of Hope's kind of scary too. Yeah, we'll just take it. Yep, growing the boys. They're off to a pretty fast start here. We'll put 3 +1/+1 counters on our Nessian Wanderer. We will... Let's think about this for a second. It might be better to wait on the Setessan Champion and instead go like Huatli's Raptor plus... Yeah, we're gonna go Huatli's Raptor and Conclave Tribunal. Tap, 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 and leave back a blocker instead of just dropping all of our blockers here. We will get rid of the Hushbringer, get another forest out of our deck, and pass the turn. So this can block their Pridemates, unless they can gain life at instant speed, which is not impossible. Oh! Oh. Okay, they're just gonna make some... Okay. I don't know about this. I guess they're just being as aggressive as possible. Oh, they have some sort of pump? Gods... Okay. Well, that at least doesn't kill our Nessian Wanderer, which is something. We would love to kill this Elspeth and then eat it with Binding of Titans, but it'll be hard to find a window. Draw 2 cards. Okay. We could kill the Elspeth here by flickering one of their tokens. And they need to exile 4 of their cards to get it back, so we could then kill it with the Binding of the Titans after that. Let's see, so we'll have 5 mana here. If we flicker, we'll still have 3. So I think we go... Yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to go Setessan Champion. Going to flicker one of the tokens. Attack with all these at Elspeth to kill it. Yeah. Okay, opponent just trades their 1/1, sure. Elspeth down, and now next turn we can... First we're going to put a stop so that we can bounce this back to our hand. Ooh, Linden's bad. Yeah, I get to draw a card too. Alright. I think we just chump with a Huatli's Raptor and take 5. Here we will... Okay. Turn on full control. Turn on full control. Don't turn it off, Arena. Full control. Good God. I hate how Arena just turns off full control of its own accord. It really bothers me. So we will pay to 1. Bring back first Heroic Games to our hand. We will Binding of the Titans. Mill. Yeah, I guess we don't get a land. Mill and mill. We will Sentinel's Eyes. I guess we'll... yeah, we'll Sentinel's Eyes our Nessian Wanderer. Get a forest. Draw a card. We will... We will shepherd the flock back our Sentinel's Eyes. Sentinel's Eyes our Cetessan champion. Get a land, draw a card. Attack for 5. Problem is we have to double jump here. We drew a lot of cards, but we weren't able... I couldn't really find a... Oh, I guess we... I forgot we even had this gold. Maybe there was a play we could make with this Conclave Tribunal in that case. Oh, Banishing Light just kills us. Yeah. Alright, that gets us. That was a good draw for our opponent. Yep, we're dead. We will scoop it up. Oh, they had God's Willing anyway, so I guess we were dead no matter what we did that turn. Alright. So mono white. Our opponent got off to a really good start. I guess we bring in the Banishing Lights. Thrashing Bronodons might be good. They're probably playing... They gotta be playing Heliod, so I think we bring in the Revoke Existence instead of the Thrashing Bronodons. Then we'll go down a Flicker of Fate, a Flicker of Fate. I guess Flicker of Fates are actually pretty good at like resetting their Johnny's Pridemate, so we'll go down a couple Shepherd of the Flocks, and go down a Storyteller, and run it like that. Just need to hope they get off to less of an explosive start this game. Alright, second game against Durgan. We will play first. No, we can't keep this. We're just stuck on the double plains hand. Alright, I guess we keep this. We'll go down one of the Raptors. Gotta draw a green source here. Okay, Fateful Passage. Even though this puts us off... You know, we still don't get to really play on tempo correctly, but at least we get a green source. We can start playing cards next turn, right? We have sort of all of our enablers, though. We need to draw, like, an actual enchantment. Like, any enchantment is good with this hand, but we need to draw one. Okay, instead we draw our last copy, Flicker of Fate. Or no, we didn't sideboard one out, that's right. So we'll just play this Nessian Wanderer. Come on, any enchantment's pretty good here. Johnny's Pridemate, sure. Flicker is good against those, that's something. Well, okay, that's pretty good. First Rowan Games. Get a Temple of Plenty. Play it tapped. I think we'll pass on an additional land. And pass turn. Okay, a Johnny's Pridemate. So our opponent is off to another pretty explosive start. Okay, we'll just block. Take 4. Alright, put the counters on our Nessian Wanderer. And here we will... Huatli's Raptor. Proliferate both. Draw 2 cards. Sentinel's Eyes. Alright, that'll be good next turn. And I think we will... I think we'll just... Yeah, we'll just pass here. We can flicker this first Rowan Games. Heliod, yeah. Gain a life. They have to put a counter on a creature. Sure. And we will flicker this first Rowan Games. Make another 1/1. Trigger our Wanderer again, get a land. Put some counters on Huatli's Raptor. We will play Cetessan Champion. We will play Sentinel's Eyes on the... on the Wanderer. Draw, get a land. Another first our own games is good. We'll play this tapped, and and I guess we just pass a turn. We're gonna need to find some like removal, you know, before we start getting in here. The scariest thing they can do is just have like a bunch of ways to give their creatures protection and just like swing in with the two huge things to kill us. That would be bad. Alright. Sure. So obviously something's going on here. I think we block the Daxos, block the Pridemate, and chump the other Pridemate. Try it like that. Okay, opponent's just gonna give it lifelink. If that's all, then we're fine with this. Wow. That's surprising. So we killed two things. They do get to pump up their Pridemate a couple times, but okay, sure. We have a Flicker of Fate to reset that thing if its counters get out of control. Okay, first our own games, draw a couple cards. We will play Fabled Passage. I think we're probably just going to leave up a Flicker of Fate for the rest of the game to reset this Pridemate. So we will... Seeing as we're going to leave up the Flicker of Fate, I think we go... no, hold on. Guess we go just first our own games again. Yep. Draw a card, get a land. Conclave Tribunal is pretty good, so we will attack, and attack. We will Conclave Tribunal like this. Creature. Hold on, wait a second. Actually, I guess we want something that can chump rather than our good creature back. So we'll do it like this, so we can leave the 2 mana open to Flicker. Trigger, get rid of Heliod, get a Temple Garden, and pass a turn. We'll discard a Birth of Melodis and a land, and a Destiny Spinner. Alright, we will jump. Takes it, sure. Cavalier of Dawn. Okay, let's see what he targets with it. Alright, I think we do this now. We don't really care about the gold, so we'll just go ahead and reset this and draw a card. I think that's better than waiting for the gold. Okay, trigger. Temple Garden. Yep. Put +1/+1 counters on... Let's put it on the Golem, I guess. Target creature I control gets +1/+1. We'll put it on... the Wadley's Raptor's fine. Go... to combat. Attack, and attack. Leave the 1/1s back to chump. Sure. Alright, let's see what it... Okay, they're just gonna get back at Daxos, sure. So we will Cetessan Champion, play a land, and Birth of Melodis. Again, we're leaving up this Flicker of Fate just to deal with the Johnny's Pridemate if we need to. Get a land. Get a Plains. And... maybe we should Flicker this Pridemate now. Because if they untap, they'll have protection spells. I think we're going to do it. We're going to just do it now. Flicker this, just so they can't do something crazy. Reset it, and discard a land. Elspeth. Okay, that's not going to do it. So we should have the game here. They're going to have to... They can't even hit our biggest creature, the Nessian. I guess Whatley's Raptor's bigger. They can't hit either of these, though. Bring back the Heliod, sure. But what is that doing? Okay, opponent scoops it up. Alright, so that time we got to go off. Our opponent was explosive game 1, but we exploded right back on game 2. So we get to see the power of this Proliferate Saga strategy. And I don't think we bring in anything else. Maybe a Thrashing Bronodon's worth it because we saw Elspeth Conqueror's Death. I guess we'll bring in, like, a Thrashing Bronodon and go down a Sentinel's Eyes. Run it like that. Alright, Well, I think we mulligan this. Oh my god. Any land is good with his hand. Any land, and we get to either Nessian 1 or a Birth Melodus. I think we get a mulligan, though. Alright, okay. We'll go down Flicker of Fate and Flicker of Fate, I guess. We're all in on this champion, but if they have any removal for it, we're just screwed. Lost Me Sands. Yeah. Ugh. Games 2 and Games 3, we've had to mulligan pretty aggressively just to not have a, have a functional hand. Alright, we got Conclave Tribunal to answer something here. That's good. I mean, this hand is coming together. It's just the problem is that they have Disruption. There's Linden, sure. Yep. Play the Citizen Champion. They're gonna get in for a big chunk of damage here, but we can Conclave Tribunal next turn. So, that's something at least. Heliod. Very, very bad for us. Yep, opponent gains a lot of life, pumps the Johnny's Primate like crazy. Yep. I'll just take it. I think we go after the Linden here. Alright. Is it worth playing this untapped? I don't think so. I think we just hope they don't have enough devotion. So we'll get rid of the Linden, draw a card. We're just hoping they don't have enough devotion for this Heliod or we're dead. Yep, our opponent had pretty much the best draw they could have. And there's another Linden, so okay. Well, yeah, our opponent had their nut draw in games 1 and 2, and we unfortunately had to just mulligan to Oblivion, so he couldn't do much about it. So, yep. They got us. But we put up a pretty good fight. You got to see the deck go off in game 2, and if we didn't have to mulligan to Oblivion this game and had an actual functional hand, we could probably have competed with this, but just the fact that we weren't doing anything until turn 3 was just too slow. So, alright. Okay. Kinda sucks, but on to the next one. Mulligans happen. Alright, playing against Hadouken Lolcats. And we'll play first, playing Saga-liferates. And, yeah. We'll just get this Fable passage out of the way. Get a white source. We'll probably wait until we have 4 mana to play the Citizen Champion, so we can go Citizen Champion, Sentinel's Eyes, draw a card immediately. Okay. Mill deck. Mill deck is scary. Especially because Bounce, which is probably going to be most of the removal, is pretty good against us. Yeah, we'll play Destiny Spinner. At least this this shuts down like their didn't say pleases and such. That's something, right? Yeah, Destiny Spinner actually might be really good against them. Okay, Scry's 2 to the top, sure. Alright, we will pay 2 life. And I think we will run out this Citizen Champion. Attack with Destiny Spinner. And Bass turn. Okay, so they're running black as well. Okay. Tyrant Scorn. Yeah, so I wasn't expecting actual removal there. I thought they were maybe playing mono blue mill, but they're on blue black. Alright, Fable Passage. Go get a green source. Guess we just run out first our own games. And attack. We're gonna hold on to Sentinel's Eyes to, you know, if we draw another thing that cares about Constellation. We'd rather just have it in hand. Agonizing Remorse. Okay, probably gonna take our Destiny Spinner. Maybe we should have played it out to play around. I don't know. I haven't quite seen a deck like this. I wasn't expecting Agonizing Remorse. Flicker? Huh. Okay, I guess they were scared of that first Heroine games. I would figure they'd be more scared of Destiny Spinner, but that's surprising. Okay, we'll put the 3+1/+1 counters on, I guess, Destiny Spinner. That way if they bounce it, at least we can replay it. So we'll attack with Destiny Spinner. Opponent's just gonna chump, sure. Play Destiny Spinner. Play Temple Garden, tapped, pass turn. I guess maybe we should have played Sentinel's Eyes, actually, just to get it out of our hand, so they can't make us discard it. Okay, draw the lock, sure. So we don't get to draw the cards. Sure. Ooh, Setessan Champion. Alright, see, we were smart to hold on to it. Okay, so we will Setessan Champion, Sentinel's Eyes, the Soldier, draw a card, attack with both. Wanna just chump, sure. Alright. The worst thing they could have here is Ritual of Soot, probably. Alright, they're just gonna take our Nessian Wonder, sure. Sure. Alright, they scoop it up. We could have started pumping mana into this Destiny Spinner to make our lands into creatures do some extra damage. They were pretty dead there. So blue-black mill control something. Do we want to go up the Apostles? I guess so. Alright, we'll go up the Apostles. And I guess that's it. I didn't see anything worth bringing in Banishing Light over, so just go up the Apostles to mess up their removal. Go down the Storyteller's not great. And go down I'll just go down one of the Shepherds and run it like that. Okay, I guess we keep it. We're not doing anything until turn 3, which kind of sucks, but okay, Destiny Spinner's a great draw. Maybe we'll Fable Passage, just go get a green source. Plan on playing this Destiny Spinner turn 2. Really shutting down their, I'm sure shutting down their Didn't Say Pleases and such. Destiny Spinner's just great against this deck. Alright, and our opponent's tapped out too, which is good. Okay, Scry's 2 at the top. Alright, we'll just play Destiny Spinner, pass turn. And so if they kill our Destiny Spinner, at least that means we get to resolve first Heroine games. Alright, they do kill the Destiny Spinner, sure. Play first Heroine games. Make a 1/1, pass turn. Thief of Sanity. No blocks. We are going to kill that Thief of Sanity for sure. For counters, we will go, yeah, Nessian Wanderer, Conclave Tribunal. Get a land, hopefully, off this Wanderer. Okay, good. Oh, yeah, we'll just take the untapped land. And pass turn. If they have a bounce spell for our token, that'll suck. Yeah, looks like they do. Alright, so no card draw for us, but at least that took our removal spot out of their hand, right? So we will play land. First Heroine games. Make a 1/1. Get a Temple Garden. Play... We're going to play Birth of Meletus and Watley's Raptor next turn to proliferate on both of them. Get planes. And, no, we won't attack. No attacks, pass turn. Okay, won't play Thief of Sanity. We're more than okay with that. Oh, Setessan Champions. Wonderful. Make a gold token. We'll put it on our Nessian Wanderer. So, we will Setessan... Cetizen Champion. I guess we can do it all, can't we? Sentinel's Eyes on our 1/1. No land, but we do get to draw a card and more importantly, put a counter on our Cetizen Champion, which means when we go land Huatli's Raptor, we get to do everything. Gain 2 life, draw 2 cards, and attack and attack. And we get to put an additional counter on our champion. Alright. Opponent does get to get in with Thief of Sanity, but we couldn't do anything about that. Hopefully they don't... I mean, we don't have that much removal in our deck, right? So hopefully they don't get the scant removal we do have. Elspeth Conqueror's Death would be annoying. Noxious Wrath, okay. Alright, and get a gold token. We will Destiny Spinner. Draw a card. Destiny Spinner. Draw a card. Binding of the Titans. Mill and then draw a card. Ooh. And Apostle. Pay a green. Go to combat. Attack, attack, and attack. And we will Conclave Tribunal, tap, 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 and tap. Draw a card, get rid of this Thief of Sanity, and man, we just went off this game. This blue-black deck didn't come close to keeping up with us. So, unless they have a Ritual Facility here, I think they're just dead. Okay, Murder Strider does not do it. Opponent scoops it up, and yeah, that was a pretty dominating performance of Saga-liferate. Just really stomped this blue-black control deck. They just, they were sitting there trying to eke out advantage while we were just exploding. Like, all of our cards just really pulled in a ton of value, so pretty sweet. Okay, playing against Fanatic of Domri, and one lander, can't keep this. Well, 2 lander we can keep. We will keep this, go down, I guess go down the Flicker of Fate. We're just hoping to go, I mean, we can go like Nessian Wanderer, Sentinel's Eyes to try to get a land, so we can try to hit our land drops here. Opponent had a mulligan too, so we're not hopefully gonna fall behind because of it too badly. Go get a Plains, pass turn. Okay, so it looks like we're against mono red. Yeah, we'll just play Nessian Wanderer. Hopefully it lives. We would love to Sentinel's Eyes next turn to... I mean, a 2/4 with Vigilance is not bad against mono red anyway. But getting to do that and hopefully hit our 3rd land drop as well would be very nice. Okay, just playing the Rimrock Knight. Okay, Sentinel's Eyes, Nessian Wanderer. Oh, thank goodness we found a land drop. Alright, so we can start playing these 3 drops next turn. And we will attack for 2. Fast turn. Anax. It's a little scary. Okay, so do we Cetizen Champion here, or do we first Heroin Games? I think we first Heroin Games, just to get this proc off their Nessian Wanderer as soon as we can. I have a feeling it's not long for this world. Force is good. And pass a turn. Scorch Spitter. Okay, we will, we just block like this, take 6. Make sure we have a creature to put these counters on. Put the counters on Nessian Wanderer, so it's a big boy now. Red should have a hard time killing a 5/7. So here, I think we just Cetizen Champion. Oh, it tapped us a little awkwardly there. I was going to Shepherd the Flock back the Sentinel's Eyes and put it and replay it again to trigger both of these, but it tapped us out of white there, so something to keep in mind. Arena probably doesn't have any idea what you're trying to do with the Shepherd of the Flock, but we will pass turn. Okay. We will block and block. Take 3. Sure. Take 6. Down to 5. And we won't blink anything here. Elspeth conquers death, doesn't do anything. Birth of Meletus, alright. What we'll probably do here is Tessin Champion. Play Birth of Meletus. Oh, I tapped us out of white again. Alright. Well, that's a little unfortunate. Get Fable Passage. Get a Plains. Draw 2 guards. Attack. And pass turn. We're getting pretty close. We're not... are we just dead here? They got 5 1/1s. We can block. I guess we're... okay, now we're definitely just dead. Yep, we will block and block and block, but that will kill us. Okay. They got us that game. They were able to recover from their mulliganing a little bit better than we were, being the aggressive deck. Their deck is a little more homogenous than ours. Ours is a little more focused on a combination of strength. So I think we'll go up the Devout Decrees, go up the Azlids, and go up the... I almost want to go up the Apostles just as a 2/1 blocker. I don't know. We'll go down the Elspeth Conquers Death. Looks pretty bad here. Go down... maybe one of the... Sentinel's Eyes actually doesn't seem too bad against them. We'll go down one of them. Go down the Flicker of Fates. And... I think we'll go up the Bronodons, actually. Because they can do double duty as blockers and also getting rid of, like, a Cavalcade of Calamity. And, what else can we go down? I guess we just go down these Shepherds, too. And we'll run it like this. Alright, we'll play first against Fanatic of Domri. And yeah, we'll keep this. Got a good 2-3 body, followed up by a good 3-4 body. Both above curve bodies. Temple Garden, and pass. Okay, we will Destiny Spinner. Pass turn. These Conclave Tribunals should be pretty good. Get rid of, like, Cavalcade Calamities and such. We'll attack for 2. Play Brontodon. Pass turn. Just Bone Crushers us, sure. Yep. We will... We will Sentinel's Eyes the Destiny Spinner. Go to combat. Attack with Destiny Spinner. Alright, opponent just trades, sure. We're okay with playing the value game. Play Destiny Spinner, and can't get back Sentinel's Eyes yet, and we'll pass turn. We can get back that Sentinel's Eyes eventually. Anax, sure. We can blow up Anax with Thrashing Brontodon, but we just don't need to right now. Yeah. Play the Plains. Exile the Anax. Attack for 5. Faster. Phoenix of Ash, sure. Yep. And opponent scoops it up. Alright, so that time our opponent was the one that kind of had an awkward draw. So let's see if we can bring this home. Anything else we want to bring in? I don't think so. Yeah, I think we just run it how we had it. Okay, last game against Mono Red. And we will keep this. It's a little concerning to have so many tap lands, but... okay, opponent does have a 1-drop. Nessian Wanderer. Okay, I think we want to play that on time, so we will get one of our tap lands out of the way this turn. Next turn we'll go Nessian Wanderer, and then even if we do not have an untapped land the following turn, we can go like Binding in Titans or something, or Azlid. Probably just Azlid to trade with his Scorch Spitter. So we will Temple Garden, untapped, Nessian Wanderer. This will help us hopefully hit more untapped lands. Get this Fable Passage no longer tapped. Opponent just doesn't attack. That's great for us. Okay. I think we actually go with this Binding of the Titans because it can start gaining us life. Yep. Get a... I guess Blossoming Sands. Play the Blossoming Sands. And next turn we can Sagas and Champion plus Azelid. Even no attacks. They're running black too, interesting. I wonder what they're running black for. Torbrand, okay. That's a lot of damage. I think we take it though. Okay, Binding of Titans does gain us back some life, which is good. Probably just have to kill this Torbrand. Yeah, I don't think we can let that live. So, given that we're going to kill the Torbrand, Fable Passage, crack it. I think we just Conclave Tribunal for the full mana cost. I still want to do Sagas and Champion plus Azelid. So I think we just get rid of this Torbrand now. Oh, hit no lands. We would have liked to get that Meletus to gain some life. Hopefully I don't have another Torbrand. That would definitely be the best card in their deck at this point. Get back a Thrashing Bronodon, which isn't too bad. Fervent Champion, okay. And what else they got? Not another Torbrand. Okay. Nothing yet. We will get back the Bronodon. Play Sagas and Champion. Play Azelid. Draw a card. And our opponent scoops it up. Alright, so we just outvalued him. Torbrand was a little scary, but we were able to answer it, and yeah, once we stabilized, Mono Red didn't have much of a chance, I think. So, sweet, yeah, took down Mono Red. A lot of monocolored decks running around, it seems like. Alright, sweet. Alright, so this deck ended up pretty fun. I think the big thing I took away from this deck is our opponents had to kind of disrupt us, or we just went off. When this deck, you know, hits its full steam and we're proliferating like crazy and we're using our Sagas over and over again and blinking them and drawing a million cards off of Sagas and Champion, it felt like it was like unbeatable. So our opponent really had to sort of get out ahead of us and stop us from getting our engine going to really punish us. That's what it seemed like. But now I'm going to talk about some potential upgrades you can make to the deck, and I do think there's some good ones for this deck. So let's hop right into that. One of the biggest upgrades I think we could use in this deck is Starfield Mystic. It's a great 2-drop. It ramps us into our Elspeth Conquers Death in our first Heroine games, and also it gets a +1/+1 counter every time an enchantment is put into the graveyard, which goes with our other theme as well. You know, if we let a Saga go to the graveyard, and this gets a +1/+1 counter on it, well, now Huatli's Raptor is going to be proliferating this, as well as our Sagas and Champion. So it kind of works on both axes of our deck. So this is a great inclusion if you've already got a few copies, or if you want to spend the wild cards. I think this is like one of the best things you could put in the deck. And then there's a really obvious upgrade we can make, which is just upping the number of Sagas in our deck. We just ran, like I said before, we kind of pushed the budget a bit already by going up to 9 rares to include 4 Sagas and Champions, 3 Heroine games, and 2 Elspeth Conquers Deaths. But really, we want the full 4 copies of Heroine games, and we want, I think, at least 3 Elspeth Conquers Deaths. So just adding another copy of these two would greatly improve the deck. First Heroine games in particular is like kind of the cornerstone of our deck. It gives us +1/+1 counters to proliferate, and also benefits from proliferation itself. So it just feels like one of the best things our deck can be doing. Getting 4 full copies of this, I think, would be really good. A copy or 2 of Cavalier of Dawn would also be a great inclusion in this deck. It's great. It's a great thing to blink with our Flicker of Fate to continually kind of blow up our opponent's best permanent. And also when it dies, it brings back an enchantment, which is sometimes hard to trigger in a lot of decks, but in our deck it absolutely will not be, because Sagas naturally go to the graveyard. So it'll almost always get something back when it dies. And so working on those two, you know, the Flicker aspect and also the Saga aspect of our deck makes Cavalier, I think, a pretty good inclusion. I think you don't want to like overload, you don't want like 4 of them, I don't think, but maybe like 1 or 2. A card I'd like to try in this deck that I'm not 100% sure about is Nylea Keen-Eyed. We often found ourselves with just a lot of mana, right? Between these Bertha Meletuses and these Nessian Wanderers, we just so often we would find out, like, okay, we got like 6, 7, 8 mana, and we're just sitting here with nothing really to do with it. We don't really have, the only real like sink we have for mana is Destiny Spinner or drawing a bunch of cards and casting them with Setessan Champion. So having something like Nylea where we could just pump mana into it, kind of dig for our creatures, dig for our Setessan Champions, dig for our Huatli's Raptors, dig for these important pieces would be pretty good. And it would also allow us to like dump cards like Sentinel's Eyes in the graveyard. I mean, it itself is an enchantment, which would be pretty good with Setessan Champions. So I would like to try Nylea as maybe like a one of, and I think it might be pretty good in this deck. And the last card that would be interesting to try is Calyx. Another one I'm not 100% sure about because our deck has a little more enchantment light than a typical sort of Enchantress deck. We've got cards like Flicker of Fate and Huatli's Raptor and Shepherd of the Flock, so it might not be, we might not have the critical density of enchantments needed to make Calyx good, but I mean, Calyx is just a great value engine, and right now one issue our deck does have is really we only have Setessan Champion as a great value engine. First row in games, being repeated over and over, can draw some cards, but it's a little bit slow and kind of easy to disrupt by killing our high power creature. And Setessan Champion similarly is, they just kill it, and then we're kind of sitting around without more value. But getting something like Calyx, because we are pretty good at filling up the board. We got these 1/3s and 2/3s that can kind of clog up the board fairly well. So doing that and then playing a Calyx to kind of dig through our deck, find our important sagas, find our removal, and even deal with problematic things itself, it's probably worth playing at least one or two of these. It also does, Planeswalkers also do work with Proliferate. So Huatli's Raptor entering the battlefield would in fact bump this up another loyalty counter, which it does make it easier to ultimate. And if Calyx does ultimate, it does synergize well with Sagas. I mean, Sagas, again, naturally put themselves in the graveyard, so being able to reanimate all the Sagas out of our graveyard is pretty good, and it might make it, if we do focus in more on this sort of Calyx plan, it might make Binding the Titans better, filling up our graveyard for Elspeth, and if we have just multiple payoffs like this, Calyx and Elspeth, maybe Binding the Titans could go up to 4 as well. So anyway, that's going to wrap it up for Saga-liferate. The deck was a lot of fun to play, so I hope you enjoyed watching. This has been 2D, and see you next time.